So if you're anything like me, you probably clicked on this video because you want to learn how to build a large and dedicated audience on YouTube and eventually turn it into a full-time career without any special degree, past experience, or genius IQ. And whether that's the case, or you're just interested in learning about how people from any age are making videos from anywhere in the world to make crazy amounts of money online, then this video is for you. So look, starting on YouTube has become harder and harder over the last few years, and I get it. With the thousands of new YouTube channels popping up every day and seeing people so far ahead of you, it can all seem so overwhelming, and the easiest thing to do is convince yourself that it's too late to start a YouTube channel in 2023 and not give it the fair shot that it deserves. And that is exactly why I put together this video, to break down an easy step-by-step guide to getting started on YouTube so that you can push through the competition and get a head start on becoming a part-time or full-time creator from the comfort of your own home. And look, I get it. Why should you listen to me instead of some other 22-year-old making videos in front of his laptop? Over the last 3 years, I've worked as a YouTube consultant with some of the biggest creators on the platform, taking people like Joel Kaplan from 6,000 subscribers to over 130,000 in under 6 months. Now, my goal is to take what I've learned growing other people's channels and give it away to you for completely free. I see a ton of YouTubers gatekeeping their secrets or putting it behind a $997 paywall, but I'm on a mission to grow 1,000 people to over 100,000 subscribers by giving you every single resource you need for completely free. So congratulations on taking your first few steps into the crazy world of YouTube. But most importantly, sit back, grab a pen and paper, and prepare to take notes, because at the end of this video, it will be time for you to take massive action. But before we get into it, it would mean a ton if you would smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so that we can impact more people starting on YouTube. With that said, let's dive in. So I put together this guide for you guys to give you a step-by-step process on getting started on YouTube. Steps 1 through 3 are centered mostly for beginners, getting started, and then it goes to making your first video and then doing that over and over again until you build a following. Now, step 4 and 5 are where it starts to get more advanced. So this will be for my more advanced YouTubers, people who already have a couple thousand subscribers and want to start automating that work. So in step 4, we teach you how to outsource all of the work. And in step 5, we teach you how to actually build a business around your channel. Step 5 is a lot more accessible than you might think. I was able to build a $10,000 a month business with only 8,000 subscribers. So let's jump into step 1. The first thing that any YouTuber has to do is to pick their niche. So I want to preface this by saying that every niche sucks. No matter what niche you go into on YouTube, whether that's business, whether that's cooking, whether that's travel, every niche has upsides and downsides. There is no perfect niche to hop into on YouTube, so there's a couple rules that you can follow to figure out the one that's right for you. For example, in the business niche, the CPMs are higher, right? So you get paid more, but it's also much harder to get views. A business video with 1 million views is infinitely harder to do than a cooking video with 1 million views. On the flip side, it's easier to get 1 million views with cooking. However, you're not going to get paid that much when you do get 1 million views. So there's ways to get around this. Every niche has its upsides and downsides. But how I chose my own niche and what I recommend my clients to do is look at Ikigai. Ikigai is the culmination of what you love, what the world needs, what you're good at, and what you can be paid for. So I would list all of these things out. 1, what do you love? Answer that question right now on a piece of paper. Number 2, what are you good at? Also answer that one. Number 3, what does the world need? Answer that. And then 4, what can you be paid for? Go ahead and answer those questions and then look at them and see if there's any overlap. And there's always a way to find some sort of overlap with these ideas. Spend an hour on this because honestly, it's the most important decision that you're gonna make when starting a YouTube channel, because it's going to dictate the next 3 to 5 years of your content. Of course, you will evolve over that time, but most people end up sticking somewhat in their niche. So picking that is super important. However, I don't want you guys to fall into this trap. As you can see, step 1, getting started, only has 24 hours. That is the maximum time you should take to decide all of this. Because honestly, I know you may not think you know, but you do know. And a lot of people overthink this process and get so stuck on it that they never start to begin with. So it's better to just pick something in 24 hours, start doing it, and if you want to pivot down the line, you can. But there are some niches that you should avoid at all costs. For one, you don't want to go into a niche that has a small TAM. TAM stands for total addressable market, or the amount of people in that niche. So if you're going into a hyper-focused niche like fishing aquariums in Cairo, Egypt, there's only a small percentage of people that are going to watch that content, because for one, it has to be in Cairo, Egypt, therefore it's already a limited population, and then fish tanks. That's like a much smaller part of the population that's interested in that. However, don't be afraid to go pretty niche. Like if you just did fish tanks, there's a lot of people in this world who are interested in fish tanks. I mean, you look at channels like The Fish Whisperer, like he has a whole channel just centered around feeding fish. Like it's so simple, but he gets millions and millions of views because so many people want to see that content. There's people who make content about coral. So you can go very niche, but I would just make sure not to go too niche. But like fish tanks, coral, all of that still has a lot of broad interest. The other thing you should avoid when picking a niche is doing it out of monetary interests. Like if you don't really care about finance or business and you go into that niche just because there's a lot of money to be made, it's not gonna work. You're gonna get burned out eventually and you're not gonna enjoy the process. Making videos is extremely difficult, so if you're not enjoying the content that you make, it's just not gonna happen. Like you could push for a little bit, but after 3 or 4 videos, you're just gonna fizzle out. So go into something that excites you and that you're a total nerd about. The next step that we need to do is create your channel. So for the name, obviously you can come up with it on your own if you already have an idea. For example, we'll use like fish tanks. We'll just keep using that example throughout this video. You can make the name like Fish Tanks on Demand or Fish Tanks Exposed. You could also just make it a personal brand, which often does better. So if your name is John Smith, you could just call the channel John Smith. You'll see a lot of people on YouTube who talk about a very certain topic. For example, in the YouTube space, you got like Colin and Samir. They just use their names. It's a very easy way to do it. The one rule that I would follow is keep it simple. Don't use like a bunch of crazy numbers or anything like that. Just keep it letters, keep it easy. Next, for your logo and banner, you're gonna go to canva.com and you can create one within a few minutes. You could also use a picture of yourself or go to flaticon.com for a very simple one. However, if you're extremely lazy, you can just click here, go to fiverr.com and someone will design one for you for like $5. So if you don't wanna make one yourself, that's a very easy way to do it. Next, this is something that I see a lot of YouTubers miss. When you're making your channel, you want to get the domain name immediately. So if your channel is like Fish Tanks Exposed, you're gonna wanna get that domain. So you're gonna go to Google Domains and then buy that domain. It's super cheap. It should cost you like $12 a year, so $1 a month. And I can guarantee you that that $12 is $12 well spent. Having that domain will pay you dividends in the future. All right, let's get into some exciting stuff. Let's talk about gear. So if you don't have any money to start off, your iPhone is more than enough. All you need is really an iPhone camera. Like the way that iPhone cameras shoot nowadays is so good. Like it's better than a lot of DSLRs. So that's step one. I would recommend probably buying like a $15 lav mic, which is just a little mic extension. That's in the $500 kit. I've put together a couple kits, one for under $500, one for under $1,000, one for under $3,000, and one for under $5,000. I would say for most people, under $3,000 is probably the best deal because you're able to get a nice camera, which is super important, and also a good audio setup. But if you don't have $3,000 to drop on your channel just yet, one of the lower packages or even just your phone is completely fine. The most important thing is that you just start making content. All right, now we are on to step 2, which is the most exciting part, but also the part where most people fail. And that is making your first ever YouTube video. Almost everyone puts so much pressure on their first video that they never end up making it because they want to be perfect. And the thing is, in the beginning, you're not going to be perfect. And that's okay to not be perfect. When I first started on YouTube 3 to 4 years ago, my first video was absolutely horrible. I don't even want to put it up because it's just embarrassing, but it was really, really bad. And at the time, I thought it would get views, but now I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's the reason why it got 5 views. So in the beginning, it's better to just get over that hurdle of making your first video, making your second video, your third video, than trying to make one perfect video. So it's quantity over quality. And I know a lot of you struggle with imposter syndrome. I do too. I think everyone does. But I promise you, no one was good at this stuff in the beginning. Everyone sucked, and you are going to probably suck too. And that's okay. But a thing that separates a YouTuber from a normal person is actually posting that first video. Next thing for coming up with ideas is TAM. We heard this earlier in the video. Basically means how many people does it impact. So again, a video about fish tanks in Cairo will not get that many views. All right, let's say you're a real estate agent. You make a video telling other real estate agents how to go from 30% qualified leads to 50% qualified leads. It's probably going to get a very small viewership because there's just not that many people who care about it. Of course, the people who do will be highly targeted, but generally the better rule is just target the broadest audience possible for your niche and then find qualified people within that big audience. With that said, you also want to make sure that you are making content for your niche. So maybe a better video for the real estate example would be how to start real estate in 2023. That's a much broader video that impacts a lot more people who are still semi-targeted. And let's say for the fish tank example, how to build a fish tank that your fish love. You also could take a boring idea like that and turn it into a viral video. Like for example, the movie Barbie just came out. So for example, if you're a fish YouTuber, you could build a fish tank that's modeled after Barbie Land and frame it as I built the Barbie dream house for my fish. Like that is a guaranteed viral video because it's hopping on a trend and it's also targeted to a niche. Anyone can watch that. I would probably click on that video. I'd be like, what the hell? Like who would do that? But the thing is, you kind of have to be crazy to succeed on YouTube. So videos like that have ultimate viral potential are better to make than videos like how to build a fish tank. Although that one can still get a ton of views. So to help all of you guys out, all of the organization that I do is on Notion. So I've given you guys my idea template. So you can go ahead and just click on that. It's very basic, but it'll give you a way to come up with a bunch of ideas. So you go ahead and have first idea, second idea, and then you check off if you think that video is actually worth making. And you you can always get a second opinion. I always get a second opinion on every single video that I make through one of my YouTube friends, but it could even be through friends and family. Be like, hey, would you watch this video? Now for the title, this is actually one of the things that I specialize in the most. And again, the rule is quantity over quality. We come up with 50 titles for every single YouTube video that we make. In the beginning, it's okay to come up with maybe like 25, but you really want to come up with a lot of titles. Sometimes if I have a very good title that I know is going to do good, I don't come up with 50, but I almost always do. And in those titles, you want to trigger some sort of curiosity or some sort of emotion to make the viewer click. So think about it. If you're scrolling on YouTube late at night and you see the unsolved mystery of X, then it's like, oh, it's an unsolved mystery. What happened? It's 3 a.m. I'm bored and I want to watch something that's going to scare me so I can stay up till 5 a.m. So triggering some sort of emotion like anger, fear, happiness, joy, all of those are a very powerful tool to get people to click on your video. So looking at other titles that have already succeeded in your niche and then making your title similar to that. Normally, I like to change 1 or 2 things to make it my own, but you should still follow that title framework, like follow how the title looks, but just change it and make it into your own way. If you're trying to make videos that need SEO, like how-to videos, like how to edit a YouTube video or how to buy a fish tank, then using TubeBuddy, you can look at all the competition for different keywords. It's a very powerful tool, and especially in the beginning if you're doing how-to content. But if you're not doing how-to videos, you're not targeting SEO, so I wouldn't use the tool, but it's there if you need it. The next is thumbnail design. So for inspiration, I like to look at other thumbnails that have done well. So let me go to youtube.com and we can just check out some thumbnails, right? So if I was doing a journalistic piece, like let's say I investigated The Town That Poisoned Everyone by Tyler Oliveira, I can see his thumbnail and I see the colors he used. I can see kind of how the whole thing is framed, and I can make another thumbnail in a similar niche that's based off of that one. Again, you want to change it. You want to make it your own. You don't want to copy anyone directly. However, it's much easier to look at thumbnails that are already doing well and then make them your own. So for example, YouTube growth in my niche, I could look at the editing podcast thumbnail. They got 75K views in 1 month, which is pretty good. So I could take a look at that and then kind of replicate that thumbnail in a way that's my own. Maybe using different colors, changing up the text, but basically balancing the image and using some of the similar elements in the same way. To make your own thumbnails, which I think you should do a little bit in the beginning, but outsource that as soon as possible. I use Photoshop. I did my own thumbnails for about a year. And then I realized that I didn't want to do it anymore. It's very easy to outsource, very cheap. So if you don't want to spend any money, you can use Canva, but I would recommend Photoshop. It just has a lot more features and it's a lot more advanced. So you can make better thumbnails. Here's one really important thing that a lot of YouTubers neglect is A/B testing. So with all of the clients that we grow on YouTube, we A/B test every single one of their videos with a thumbnail. That means you have 2 thumbnail images and you basically put both of them so they're switched out every 24 hours on the video, and you see which one has a higher CTR or click-through rate. That means the amount of people that see your video versus actually clicking on your video. So what that does is allows you to test 2 images against each other and see which one gets more clicks. You know, if one gets 2% more clicks, if you have 100,000 people who see that video, that's an extra 2,000 views. That really adds up over the long run. And if a video does pop off, that extra click-through rate will get you a lot of views. Now, one thing that a lot of YouTubers don't even know about is a preview tool. And this is extremely important because it allows you to see how your video is going to look on YouTube before you ever put it live. So it's called thumbsup.tv. And you essentially just drop your thumbnail in here. So let's do that really quick. I think I have a thumbnail of some sort. All right, so let's drop a thumbnail in here. I can just use this one. How to blow YouTube in 30 days. So now that we have that, you can see how your thumbnail will look before it gets posted. So this is extremely powerful because you can see how it looks on the homepage, on the sidebar, you can see how it looks on the channel page, and you can basically see if it actually looks good. Because when you're normally making a thumbnail, you're looking at it on a big screen. You're looking at it on like your entire screen because that you're trying to fill out every little detail. You just don't understand how it looks when it's small, shrunken down, and on the YouTube homepage. So having that option is extremely important. I do that every single time before I post a video, make sure it looks good, make some changes, make it simpler. And then when I feel like I would click on that video, then I post it. It's also worth saying that simplifying your thumbnail down as much as possible is one of the best ways to get higher clicks. People don't want tons of words. They don't want to read a paragraph on your thumbnail. They just want a couple words that grab their attention. All right, let's quickly go over organization. This is very simple. Basically, just use some sort of dashboard. I like to use Notion. Again, I put together a template for you guys. So as you can see, you can just list out your videos, number them. You can change the tags from not started to the video scripted to the videos edited, it's filmed, posted. You have the published date. You can change to the calendar view and you can see them in a real time. Once you hire some editors, you can also put which editor is editing which video, and then they'll have a custom view to see which video that they're editing at which time. which is extremely helpful when you start building out a team. And once the video is posted, you just paste the link in there so you can keep track of it all. You could also add like a tab, like a sponsor tab if you have sponsored videos. So there's a ton of ways to customize this template, but I just left it basic for people who are starting out. Scripting, I also put together a complete script template for you guys, so you can go ahead and use that. I will say huge shout out to Nicholas Crystal, one of my favorite YouTubers. This template is kind of similar to his. I modeled it off of his. So there's a lot of stuff that he did in this. So huge shout out to him. He's absolute G on YouTube. If you haven't watched him, you should. But yeah, it essentially allows you to come up with titles, come up with thumbnails, put the sponsor information. You have a section for your script, your research and your notes, your video checklist. So building website, like the things that you need to do when you're filming your video. Publishing checklist, upload to the YouTube, add thumbnail, add title, add description. Basically just adding everything. Change Instagram bio link, use hashtags on Instagram posts, every single thing you could think of. You have a film schedule, so if you're doing a lot of B-roll shots, you can plan them in a date, time, location, and then keep track of every single piece that you need. Okay, so now we're gonna get on to filming. I just have 4 YouTube tutorials here. You can use how to use a camera, how to plan a YouTube video, how to film yourself, and how to film a sequence. It's all very basic fundamentals. That's all you really need to start making videos. Now, editing software, I would always recommend you use an advanced editing software like DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, or Final Cut Pro. Those are the 3 that I love the most. I personally use Final Cut Pro because it was just a one-time payment of $300. If you want to do a subscription, Premiere Pro is like $20 a month, I think. However, DaVinci Resolve is absolutely free. They have some of the best color technology for coloring your footage, although that may not be super important to you, but they also have a very good editor and it's completely free, which is great. If you don't want to learn a real editing software, then you can use CapCut. That's very easy to use. So maybe for your first couple videos, using CapCut is the right way to do it. You can also use iMovie. That's another option, but CapCut is very easy. But I do want to give you guys a tool that not many people know about, which is called Descript. And that allows you to edit a video through text. So instead of editing a video through the actual video, it'll transcribe your video, which means it'll take the words from what you say, and then you can just edit the words in like a Google Doc, and it'll cut everything that you delete in the Google Doc will be deleted out of the video. So that's a way to edit your actual footage very fast. Also got some tutorials here for you guys. Free one. Advanced editing, also free. This is the single most valuable editing course that I've ever taken. It's shaped how I edit, and it's what's allowed me to edit videos that have gone on to do hundreds of thousands or millions of views. You absolutely do not have to pay though. You can learn everything completely for free. Once you've made your video, you've come up with the idea, you've scripted it, you filmed it, you edited it, and now you post it, which is super exciting. But before you do that, you should repurpose it to YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikTok. So to do that, you can just watch this video. It's very simple to do, changing the aspect ratio and making a shorter version of the video. But what's cool is if you're filming a podcast or something like a long form conversation, you can just upload that to this website right here. And through AI, it will make you 15 pieces of content without you having to do anything, which is like magic. So definitely try that out if you have that kind of content. Now, step 3 is pretty much the most important part. Just repeat step 1 and 2, keep making videos for 3 to 6 months. This is where so many people give up because this is the hardest part. I mean, I remember when I was doing it, I didn't see any results and it was really crushing. Like spending hours and hours on a video, posting it and getting like 30 views, it hurt. Like it hurt a lot. I felt like I wasn't good enough to make YouTube videos. And that was really tough. And that's why most people give up during this stage. But I heard one thing from Ali Abdaal that completely changed my perspective on this. And that's that even if you don't go viral, if you post 1 YouTube video per week for the next 6 months, I can guarantee you that your life will be in a better place than it is now. And after I hit that 6-month mark, I realized that it was completely true. Before then, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. After, I had a very clear vision on the direction that I wanted to go. And I felt like for the first time in my life, there was actual purpose. So whether or not you get 100 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, or 100,000 in the first 6 months, you will be infinitely farther ahead than you are now. Every single video I made, I focused on getting 1% better. Maybe I tried a new editing trick. Maybe I made the title a little better. Maybe I spent a little bit more time on the thumbnail, or maybe I did an extra thumbnail variation. So there's a lot of ways that you can improve, and every single video you should try to improve in some way. The other thing that helped me is I kept learning. So I would watch a lot of YouTube videos on how to make videos, and therefore I got better at making videos. Seems obvious, but a lot of people hate on this part. They think just make videos and you'll get better, which is true, but you will get better much faster if you're learning and making videos at the same time. Now we are on step 4. And for people who are just starting out on YouTube, I want you to keep watching because this will teach you how to actually monetize in the future and will get you to think about how to position your channel in the beginning to optimize for success later. And it's better you start thinking about it right now than trying to figure it all out when you get to that couple of thousand subscriber mark. So once you get to a couple thousand subscribers and once you have a little bit of money rolling in, it's time to start hiring. There's a way to properly hire YouTube employees in a certain order. The first thing that you're gonna do when you only have a couple $100s to spare is start hiring people from here, which is Upwork.com. This is the best place to find cheap YouTube labor that's actually still pretty good. They're not the best in the world, but they're definitely good enough to get you a couple 100,000 views a video. So what you can do here is go to this website and just search up video editor, and there will be a ton of video editors. $20 an hour, $30 an hour. But what I would recommend is actually making a job posting that has the price set from $3 to $5 an hour. Now, I know what you may be thinking. That's super unethical, but that wage in other countries like in India or the Philippines is actually a very good wage. It's definitely above the average wage that someone earns there. And the talent is still pretty good. They're getting paid above average because they're experts in their space. So hiring can actually be a lot cheaper than you might think, especially for short form editors. Short form editors are always $3 to $5 an hour. I like to pay an average of like $5 to $8 per short form. But for long form, $5 an hour can get you a very talented editor. You can also hire great thumbnail designers for $5 an image, $10 an image from Upwork.com. Now, once you're making a couple $1,000s from your YouTube channel, you can start to hire people from here, which is Twitter. There is phenomenal people on Twitter for YouTube. I don't think you guys understand. Like, Twitter is the place to go for fire YouTube editors, fire thumbnail designers. However, this is definitely more expensive than sites like Upwork. You're not going to be paying $3 to $5 an hour. It's going to be more like maybe $30 to $40 an hour. For a 10-minute video edited, you'll probably be paying around between $250 and $400 depending on the quality of the editor. So again, it's higher quality, but it does cost about 10 times the price. And next, if you're making $10,000 plus from your YouTube channel and you want to hire someone full time, this is the best place. Not many people actually know about this, but it's a dedicated YouTube job board. So you can find people in the mid-tier too, like the same level as Twitter here. I totally recommend that. But it costs $75 to even post a job in here. So it's definitely for people who have more money to invest, but the level of talent on this website is absolutely phenomenal. So if you look at jobs, people are posting video editing jobs. This is for people looking for full-time positions. So you can see this guy's hiring a creative director at $42,000 to $55,000 a year. So when you're ready to start actually building your team, this is where you'll go. Next thing, once you have an editor, you can manage them through Frame.io, which is essentially just they send you the video on Frame.io and you can give them detailed notes and feedback. Very useful website. And for checking scriptwriters, I always just run the script through Grammarly, make sure it's good, and I edit it on there. And then you can just send them a text message, be like, hey, I want this change, this change, this change. But that's what I use. Other employees, I just message them through WhatsApp. You can use WhatsApp, Signal, Facebook Messenger, messages, like whatever texting app you want. If you're actually building a team, I would recommend using Slack. That's what I use for all my content teams and my clients' content teams. And step 5 is the ultimate challenge, but also the ultimate reward. It's actually monetizing your YouTube channel and building a real business off of it. Now, just getting views and sponsorships can be a business, but it's only a portion of the money that you can potentially earn from YouTube. So obviously the first thing you do is make a website. You could use Weebly, Gumroad. If you want to pay for it, Squarespace or WordPress. I use Squarespace, very simple. And number 2, you want to start doing this as soon as possible. So even if you're a beginner, you want to start doing this ASAP. Like, you should always be doing this on your videos. And the second thing is collecting emails. You always want to do this even from the start. So if you're a beginning YouTuber, you want to do this even if you have 0 subscribers. You want to just set up a quick type form. Give your viewers some sort of free resource like a document or something like that, and then just have them enter their email when they want to access it. And then just make them go through a type form before they get it. And you can ask for their email and just put that into a list somewhere because that will be one of the most valuable assets that you ever get from your audience. And once you're making a lot more money, like you're making $10,000 plus a month, you can just do this through ClickFunnels. It's fairly simple to set up, but you can just write a whole bunch of copy on a landing page and get your audience very engaged compared to a type form where it's just like some people will go through, but ClickFunnels will really optimize that and get the most people going through. Now, the next thing is if you're selling courses, you can just use Kajabi or Teachable. They're just hosting platforms. So I know a lot of people monetize through selling courses. I personally don't. I truly believe that all the information should be free. But if you are selling courses, then these 2 platforms are probably the best ones to do that on. Another interesting way to monetize is selling low ticket memberships. So you can do this on Discord, Patreon, Facebook. For example, I'm in a Discord course right now for copywriting That's $500 a month. So I'm paying $500 a month to learn how to write better. And that's just all hosted in Discord. So this is the best way to build like a paid community or, some sort of low ticket mentorship program. And the last thing that I see a lot of YouTubers doing is selling merch. Not the most profitable thing that you can do with your time, but it's also another way to monetize. I know a lot of creators do it, like Denny Duncan, Nelk. That's a perfect offer for them. So if you have some sort of entertainment content, maybe this is a really good option for you. You just upload a photo, they put it on a shirt, that's it. However, if you want to be more advanced, you can go to Alibaba, and then you can actually find a Chinese supplier to manufacture a whole clothing line for you, or manufacture a custom piece of clothing that you can sell over and over again. So we've gone through setting up your channel, making your first video, making your first 50 videos, starting to outsource the work, and eventually building a real business. This is the step-by-step framework for making YouTube your part-time or full-time job, and I really hope it was valuable. I will link this guide in the description and the top comment of the video so you can access all of the resources that I put here. And I think it will be very valuable for you guys. I appreciate you watching this video all the way through, and I'm so excited to see you scale to 100,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.